Hello, Kendra here from Hooked by Happenstance, and it is Thursday once again. We all know what time that is. That means it's time for another Yarn Tales. I'm currently working on this shawl right here, which is my Yarn Tales shawl. A reading record of sort, where I read a book, I tell you about the book, and then I design a segment of my reading shawl that has something to do with, and something significant to me about the book I read. So, this is where we're at, 3 chapters in. Today we begin chapter 4 of Yarn Tales. The book that we're going to talk about today that I read is Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe by Benjamin Alire Sanz, S-A with an accent, E-N-Z. And I read this book by audiobook on the train when I was going out to California, and then also while I was coming back. So it took a while. I think it was about 10 or 12 hours of book. It was really good. There's sometimes I have problems with narrators, or, you know, the people that read the books. I guess they're not narrators, they're voice actors. And sometimes they're like spot on, and sometimes I have major issues and can't even finish a book because of them. Well, this particular audiobook was read by Lin-Manuel Miranda, you know, Hamilton, In the Heights, all those things, and he has a very particular cadence to his voice. Interestingly, in this book, however, he does not speak with that cadence. And at first it was a little bit strange, because it's like, you kept kind of waiting for him to fall into like his usual pacing, but he didn't. He stayed with the pacing of the words and the sentence structure of the author, which I think was really good as far as production of the audiobook was concerned. And his voice and his voices for all of the characters were just so good. I just really enjoyed listening to it. It was relaxing. You felt connected. It didn't feel over the top or like full of himself in the reading. Sometimes I have heard audiobooks where the reader just, they're putting on a show in a way where you feel like they're putting on a show rather than just being able to absorb the story. So, Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe is a book about 2 young men, Aristotle, who goes by the name of Ari, and Dante. These boys are going through changes in life, and they're in their teen years, and it is amazing to me when I was trying to sit down and think, what was this book about and what I want to tell you about it, because it is a book that is about so many things, but it is ultimately about nothing in a lot of ways. So it is a book about families, because you hear a lot about both of their families, but it's not really about that. It is a book about friendship and the friendship that they have together and potentially their lack of friendship with other people, but it's not really about that. It's a book about LGBT issues and discovery and all of that, but it's also not really about that. It's a book about both Ari and Dante kind of going through the struggle of what it means to be Mexican. Are they Mexican enough? Are they too Mexican? But it's not really a book that's about being Mexican. It is just a book about growing up and figuring things out, and a series of events happening, and events that have happened before you and will come after you. And it's just told in a really nicely paced way. I would be interested to see a copy of this book in print, because as I said, I listened to it on audiobook. The way that the chapters are set up was a little weird to me. Like, I guess it's in parts, but I don't really remember them saying like part 1. But I guess maybe they did. Anyways, there was a number of sections where you'd have like 12 chapters, and then it'd be like 18 chapters or something. So I think in print it might be, like that might make more sense to how the story flowed, but it was kind of irrelevant in the long run. So I really enjoyed this book, and I would recommend it if you enjoy. It wasn't exactly an emotional story. It was a story that like drew you in and you cared, but it wasn't like edge of your seat. What's going to happen? What's going to happen? More just like you wanted to spend time with these characters and the few sub-characters and family around them. And I enjoyed that about it. I enjoyed the pace, and it was very appropriate for like a trip like I was on, because you don't want something where you can't put it down, because, you know, when something else is happening, you want to have that option, but you don't want something where you don't care to pick it back up again, which sometimes I find is a problem with books, where it's like, I just don't care, so I might just keep finding other things to do instead of reading, because I don't care. So, coming down to my Yarn Tales shawl, what am I going to pick out of the book as some key points? I grabbed a few skeins of yarn here I thought I would talk about. This is some red, cherry red I'm guessing, Red Heart Super Saver. It didn't have a ball band because as you can see it's basically just a scrap. So in the book there is a red truck and it is very, very red with some chrome accents and such. And so I wanted to use this red in some way to signify that. Also, when driving the truck out to the desert, there is this desire to stare at the stars and look through a telescope and like see, I think it's seeing how big the universe is, because at that point in the characters' lives, I think they feel both very, very small, which I think looking through the telescope kind of shows them. But they also feel like their life is so big and like their life is everything. And I think staring at the stars can kind of help to put that into perspective, that maybe it's not everything, but it is something. So anyways, this is some Vanna's Glamour. It is a shimmery blue yarn, and I think I want to use this to kind of show that night sky. I might also do something that's kind of bird related, because there is a significant thing that happens in the story that involves a bird, and so maybe some birds flying in this night sky. And then I might also, with this red, even though water is not red, there is a theme of swimming in this book. At the beginning, Ari doesn't know how to swim. That's kind of how the book opens. And so it's learning about how to do those things. And swimming is kind of this metaphor for living life and figuring your way out and being able to float. Both in actuality, like, can you swim? Do you enjoy that? Is it a thing that you do? And can you function in your life? Is that a thing that you know how to do? And are there people around that can help you become better at doing that thing? So I'm going to go and play with these yarns and draw up a little plan. I'll let you know what that plan is, and then we'll see the end result. As usual, time has passed. I did a bit of sketching things out. I looked through my book and, I figured out the things I was kind of looking for. Maybe doing the truck, the stars, the bird, the water, those kind of things. And in my book, I found a stitch called Embossed Wedges, or like a, I guess a stitch. It has, multiple stitches to it, but embossed wedges. And then on the same page was wide herringbone, which kind of looks like birds flying. So I decided, and I went ahead and did the embossed wedges out of the red. And what this actually does is it does like 1/2 of the stitch, and then when you come behind, so they're all going like this way, and then you come behind and they all go this way. So they're offset by like 1/2 a row of like that. So I went ahead and did those across, and then to finish them off, I just went through both of them and did a row of single crochet to kind of pull the stitches so they were the same height, and it made everything straight. Then I got out the Vanna's Glamour, and I love the way that the yarn worked up. It totally looks like the sky I envisioned. I put a single bird right there. I love it, except I don't like the way it is with the rest of the yarn, because it's a much thinner yarn, which I knew. I went up hook sizes to make up that difference, and it did in the beginning rows, but by the end, there's like an elastic quality to the Vanna's Glamour, as you can see here. It's got like a literally an elastic in it. So that makes it pull kind of funky in the shawl. So I just thought I would show you my lovely blue, which I love as far as the book is concerned. However, I'm going to pull that out and just scrap that portion. Just keep the red embossed wedges section and kind of think of them as the truck, and also kind of like the water, and kind of an area like if you were dog paddling, this is what the water would look like. So I'm going to keep those, pull out the blue, but I thought that I would share it with you as it was kind of intended but didn't work out. That is it for Yarn Tales today. If you have book recommendations for me, leave them down below. I'm always looking for something new to read. Note, I'm not a big fan of mysteries, and I don't like scary stuff, so That's kind of my my book personality, I guess. On the screen next to me, you will see links to the rest of the chapters of the Yarn Shawl Adventures, as well as a link to my Etsy shop if you'd like to go check out my handmade project bags and maybe help support me so I can keep making fun, free, crafty content for y'all. I will see you next Thursday. Bye!